What's up, everyone? Happy Halloween. It is time for another edition of NBA Crunch Time. My name is Spider-Man, and I am joined by my good friend in these DFS streets, Keith Eister, the Iceman. How you doing, Keith?
Pretty good. Happy Halloween. It's awesome to be on a show here with Spider-Man. Feel like we're in baseball season, and I need a few home run picks, but maybe Spidey has the basketball chops too.
Spidey's got basketball chops. He's got baseball chops. No home run picks for the game. But if we get the like button up high enough, we can give out some bets, some DFS pick'em props. But just kidding. It's TJ's Warish. That hurt. That was starting to pinch a little bit on the ears. Figured I'd mess around. It's Halloween. We only got a 3-game slate. We got some time. What's your overview of this slate, Keith?
Obviously, the big trade going down changed the slate a little bit. James Harden shipped over to the Clippers. Every power forward, I believe, in the Clippers rotation was sent back to Philadelphia. So we've got some Clippers stuff that we're dealing with. Cleveland continues to be a bit of a mess. Garland and Allen remain out, and now we have Karis LeVert ruled out as well. So only 3 games, and of course, Phoenix is still dealing with some injuries. Also, Bradley Beal and Devin Booker remain out. So only 3 games, but we've got pretty decent injury situations in all 3 of them. Should be plenty of value. I think there's a couple of locks, like Kevin Durant's situation looks pretty darn good. Donovan Mitchell's situation looks pretty darn good. So you're going to have to be getting different at the fringes of the rosters, I believe, because those 2 stars in particular look pretty darn good.
It's true, but then when you take away all of these Clippers out of the lineups, all of a sudden, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard don't look too bad if they're going to be playing 36, 37, 38 minutes today. So it's a good thing we got some value. Let's start diving into it. Keith, what are your thoughts? Are you good with handling kind of the cash game and then I'll switch to tournaments, or would you rather vice versa?
I can do the cash stuff. That's cool with me.
All right, let's dive into it. Make sure you hit the like button. Those watching us on YouTube, I'm going to be getting questions from the RotoGrinders Discord live stream chat first, but then I will be going to the YouTube for some questions, and I'm not even going to think about doing that until we get up to 50 likes. We got 200 people watching. Hit that like button so we can get up to 200 likes. First, I will be looking at Discord, and then I will go to YouTube once we have enough people hitting the like button. But Keith, talk to me through a cash game build today. Who are the core plays you're making sure you get into your lineup? Let's start at the point guard position.
All right. So over on Fanduel, we'll start first. And I'll just go over Noto's core plays real quick. I definitely agree with those. The 2 stars that I mentioned, Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell, I think are priorities for cash games. Usage for both of those guys should be incredible, missing some of their other high usage teammates. Noto has the tag on Nurkic as well. Nice price at the center position. I think you can go Mobley at center. We'll get to that if you want, but Nurkic looking really good there. And then Eric Gordon should see plenty of usage in a great matchup against San Antonio is the other core tag. Certainly agree with all of those, and we'll just kind of go through positions and give you some other options to fill out the rosters with. Starting at point guard, like you mentioned, I think you're trying to save a little bit of money here. Jordan Goodwin looking really good, has played well off of that Phoenix bench. Mentioned the matchup against San Antonio. San Antonio is a team that we target on huge slates. They're probably the best matchup in NBA for DFS. They play really fast. They are bad on defense. So Jordan Goodwin at 5K on FanDuel looking really good. And then the price tag on Markelle Fultz is really good as well. 5,400. Not a great matchup against the Clippers, but they are shorthanded. 3 games to deal with. I like the price tag on Fultz. And if you need to save a little money, I don't even hate Jalen Suggs there as well, but definitely would prefer to get up to Fultz. Shooting guard
quite a bit. I'm happy you mentioned Noto's core plays because we do have an NBA yearly premium sale right now. NBA DFS is back, and with it, the amazing suite of premium offerings here at RotoGrinders. For a limited time, you can lock in a full season of NBA premium at a $50 discount. Everything from Lineup HQ, access with up-to-the-minute premium projections and ownership, the fantasy pick'em tool for prize picks, underdog, etc., and tons more. Check out the link in the description for more info. I will give my favorite tournament plays kind of after we go all through the position by position for cash. So I'll go FanDuel tournaments after FanDuel cash, and then we'll switch to DraftKings afterwards. Who do you got at the shooting guard position?
Sounds good. Mentioned Donovan Mitchell, core play without Garland and Allen, and now without Karis LeVert as well. Should be seeing huge minutes in this spot. Max Strus, another guy I'm looking at. He has forward eligibility as well. You're probably actually playing him at the forward position. I mentioned Gordon at the point as he's the shooting guard here. Eric Gordon at 5,200. Awesome matchup against San Antonio. That's I think like Mitchell's is a lock, and then you're looking at Gordon. I think is a great way to spend money. Love the usage here. Suggs if you needed to save money, but I'd really try to get up to Gordon there. Moving on to small forward, Max Strus. He's playing the most minutes in the NBA right now. We've got him projected for 39. He has been up around that 40-minute mark in all of these games with as shorthanded as Cleveland is. So Max Strus looking really good at the small forward position. Grayson Allen should see a decent amount of usage here with Phoenix missing several guys. Mentioned that matchup against San Antonio. He's the other guy I would be looking to, saving some money. If you wanted to try to go mid-range with like a Franz Wagner, it's going to be tough to get Durant in if you're doing that type of thing. So saving money with the Grayson Allen is my preferred method. Moving over to power forward, Kevin Durant, the core tag here. Definitely want him in your lineup. I think Kawhi Leonard is interesting. If you, like I mentioned, if you're looking for more of a balanced build, I do think you could go Kawhi Leonard here, but my preference is to get up to Durant. Like he's just in such an awesome spot. Going to play a ton of minutes, awesome matchup, and should see as much usage as he can handle. So really making him a priority. 11K is a big price tag, but it's a fantastic spot for Durant. I think Zach Collins is very firmly in play at 6,700. If you can't get up to Kawhi at 8,700 and Mobley at 8,100 is in play as well. Just not quite fitting the build with Durant, but Mobley is also an awesome play. So definitely wanted to mention him. And if you're going more of that balanced build, I think he's certainly a guy that you're looking at. At the center position, I mentioned the price tag on Nurkic. Saving that 1,100 down from Mobley is great. If you want to play Collins here at the center position, I certainly think you can do that as well.
I like it quite a bit. I'll kind of go in reverse order here, sticking with FanDuel to start. And while we're talking about FanDuel, Crunch Time is presented by FanDuel. Bet $5 on any money line, get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Plus, all customers get a profit boost every day for new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. I'll kind of go in reverse order here at the center position. I really like getting to some Mitchell Robinson in tournaments. Drew Eubanks as a salary saving option. I mean, probably more at the power forward. I don't mind that whatsoever. And then if Zubats plays, I like him for tournaments as well. But the guy I'm probably going to be most over the field on is Victor Wembanyama. A big breakout explosion game is coming. He's either been in foul trouble or he shoots 0 for 9 from 3, something like that. There is a big game coming, and I'm going to look to be overweight on him basically every night until it happens. At the forward position, I agree.
Real quick, before you move on to forward, at the center position, it just jogged my memory. We are still waiting on some Clippers news. Zubac questionable, like you mentioned, and Norm Powell is questionable as well. So definitely make sure you're keeping an eye on that. We've got a big gap after this first game. New York and Cleveland kicks off. Lots of time before the two 10 o'clock window games. So make sure you're keeping an eye on that. Mason Plumlee becomes an awesome play, I believe, if Zubac does get rolled out.
And for what it's worth, like I'm planning on going here. Mitchell Robinson, I think, is going to be the only Nick, maybe Jalen Brunson in my pool. And then I'm playing a maximum of 2 Cavs in every lineup. I'm trying to get as much of Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, a little bit of Dean Wade, and a lot of Max Strus. But I'm playing maximum 2 of them in every lineup. And I'm going to backload the hell out of my lineups today for tournaments because that Clippers news is going to be huge. I have, as it stands right now, I rule set in lineup HQ. I want to have at least 2 Suns and 2 Clippers in every single lineup I built today. So that's kind of how I'm planning on going about things. And then, like I mentioned, Mitch Robb is my only Nick, and so at the power forward and small forward positions, I'm trying to load up on Durant. I'm trying to load up on I'm trying to get as much Kawhi as I can. Isaac Okoro, Max Strus, Josh Okogie, I absolutely love today. Eric Gordon, totally fine as well, but I like Okogie because he's cheaper. Gordon's been starting to be priced up on both sites a little bit. And then I have another rule set as we pivot to the guard position here. I'm trying to get to as much Donovan Mitchell as I can, but I love Jordan Goodwin. And then I have a rule set. I also love Russell Westbrook today. And then I have a rule set. I want at least one of Norm Powell and Bones Highland in every single lineup today. I don't really want to double down on those guys too much because if Powell plays, I don't think Highland is as far up there. But if Powell's out, I probably want Bones on every single lineup I play today.
I love that angle because those are some really high usage guys coming off that Clippers bench, and the Clippers are very shorthanded and potentially could get even more shorthanded. So I love the Bones Highland call. I think he's way down there in ownership. Norm Powell, we've seen explode for massive games off the bench, like whenever he can get the minutes. So if he's in there, I like him as well. And splitting them, I think, is a great call as well. Probably only room for one of them to go off alongside of maybe a Kawhi or a PG that's going nuts as well, or even Westbrook. I could suppose you could throw into that conversation, but they're cheap enough. They can certainly get it done off the bench.
All right, let's make a switch here to DraftKings. Before we do, we got a pretty awesome new tool here at RotoGrinders, especially if you are an NFL plan. I used it on Monday Night Football. It's so intuitive, it's so quick and easy. SimLabs are here. We just dropped the beta version of a new NFL lineup building tool for a limited time. You can try it. It is free right now. SimLabs is a brand new product that generates DFS lineups through the power of simulation. It combines data from aspects of every single slate to turn out lineups that match your preferences in just a few clicks. You can have hundreds of well-built, correlated lineups ready to go for whatever contest type you're playing. Check out the link in our description for more. I use it for single entry. I loved it, but for single game, and I loved it, but I'm very excited to dive in for this weekend for the main slate.
It saves so much time on Showdown. Like, you used to have to make so many rules in Lineup HQ to get your Showdown lineups the way that you want them. With SimLabs, you basically just click the button and it spits out a ton of lineups that all make so much sense. Like, just the way that lineups are built in the simulation compared to how they're built in an optimizer. It's really awesome stuff. So definitely make sure you guys are checking that tool out.
Couldn't agree more. Take me through your cash build on DraftKings. Keep smashing the like button, everybody. I'm going to get to QQs after we go through DraftKings here. And then after we go through QQs, I'm doing Discord live stream chat first, followed by the YouTube chat. Shout out the YouTube for getting up over 50 likes nice and quick. We got over 300 people watching right now. So let's get it up over. If we can get it up over 100, we'll give away some free bets. I got some bets in, and then maybe we can pull some from scores and odds here as well if we get up over 100 likes. But first, before we get that, take me through the DraftKings cash build.
Extremely similar build. I think there's only one main difference here, and that's a position that you kind of need to spend down at to make everything work. But same four core tactics. Kevin Durant, the obvious one. I don't think there's an option here. I mentioned on Fanduel maybe you could try to go balance because he was expensive over there and Kawhi was so cheap. Don't think that's an option here on DraftKings. Kevin Durant, an absolute lock. Donovan Mitchell, same thing. And then Gordon and Nurkic, as they were core plays on FanDuel, also here on DraftKings, completely agree with those. Going through the position stuff, you're going to hear a lot of the same names. Starting at point guard, it's Jordan Goodwin, just too cheap, 4,900, been playing excellent off the bench. Love this matchup against the Spurs. Over to shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell, one of the locks. Eric Gordon, definitely very much in play. And then Max Strus is a guy that you can play at shooting guard. And the way my build currently is, I have him in the shooting guard spot. And that's because I'm playing Okogie in the small forward spot. Super cheap here on DraftKings. Not the highest usage guy, but the value for the minutes he's going to play looks outstanding. Power forward, here's kind of the spot that I think that I should mention Grayson Allen as well. I have him in a forward spot. Let me see his price tag here. Didn't mean to overlook him. 4,600 for Grayson Allen. Should draw the start again. Great spot for him. Power forward, it's not a comfortable play, but like I said, I like the way the lineup looks when you plug this guy in. Dean Wade at 3,600. He's going to play a boatload of minutes. He's not going to take a bunch of shots. You hope he maybe hits a 3 or 2 and grabs you some rebounds, but 3,600 for a guy who's going to be out there 35 plus minutes or around there. I think you just go ahead and punt off power forward, and it just allows you to get Durant and Mitchell in your lineups and feel good about every other spot as well. So I don't mind Dean Wade as a punt. If you wanted a pivot, I suppose Osman is going to play quite a few minutes. I'm for cash games, I'm definitely leaning on the minutes that Wade is going to be out there. So not a comfortable click, but I think he makes everything work. And then of course you've got Durant here, who's already locked in. And then Nurkic was mentioned as a core play at center as well. If you can find a way up to Mobley, definitely a guy I would be considering as well. But like I said, just not quite fitting my build. I have Mitchell there, so I feel good about my Cavs exposure. And Durant is the priority as well.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And it's not much different for me on tournaments, except I will be taking some shots on some of those other cheapies that you mentioned, like Chetty Osman, Drew Eubanks, to get as much Mitchell and Kevin Durant in as I possibly can. So as it stands right now, it's super similar to me as FanDuel, but I have a rule set: minimum 2 Suns, minimum 2 Clippers in every single lineup. I have a rule set 1 to 2 of Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant in every single lineup. I'd love to get both. It is kind of difficult to do that some of the time, and I do have some lineups I want to mix in Paul George. I want to mix in Kawhi Leonard, but I do want to make sure I have at least 1 Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant in every single lineup, and I have that same rule for Norm Powell and Bones Highland, ensuring I can get as much access to that Clipper game as possible. Clippers and Suns are my main target. Cavs are 3, Spurs are 4, and I'm getting to not much Orlando, very little, and even less New York today. Mitchell Robinson's the only New York Knick that I'm getting into any of these lineups. I don't mind Jalen Brunson's price tag, but he's kind of in that Evan Mobley range. It's just like it's priced in no man's land. I either want to get my stars and scrubs, or I want to pay up just a little bit more and get access to Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, and when the Clippers are going to be undermanned today. So a few other guys I'm looking to get in. Point guard, it's mostly Powell, Mitchell, Highland, and Goodwin, but I do like Russell Westbrook and Jeremy Sohan for tournaments today. Shooting guard, it's same guys up top, same 3 that I mentioned, but you throw in Max Strus. I do like both Clippers and Strus better than Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen today, but don't forget about Devin Vassell for tournaments. I think he has the potential to put up a big ceiling game on a small slate. Small forward position, I have 4 players I'm getting 40% of today, and it's George, Strus, Kawhi Leonard, and Josh Okogie. But I think Isaac Okoro, this has always been like a Tony Snell type guy that we look at and we go, he doesn't really do anything, but he's going to get the minutes. He's doing stuff this year.
He is.
With no Darius Garland and now no Karis LeVert. Like, he's been active. He's shooting. He's defending well like he always has. He's getting rebounds. He's getting assists. And so Isaac Okoro is somebody that I want to be over the field on. And I actually would probably prioritize him today over an Eric Gordon or a Grayson Allen. Franz Wagner and Keldon Johnson, they're fine, but I'm not getting too much of them today. Power forward, it's mostly a spend up of Durant or Leonard, or it's a spend all the way down to Isaac Okoro or Dean Wade. But I do really like Victor Wembanyama today in tournaments. A little less on DraftKings and FanDuel, but like FanDuel, I do like him for tournaments there as well. Same stuff at the center position: Eubanks, Wemby, Zach Collins, Nurkic. But I want to pay close attention to that Ivica Zubac news, because realistically, if he's out with all the injuries they have, Mason Plumlee would be the very best play on the whole slate. He'd be the best value play on the slate. He'd pop in projections. He'd be the best RG value by far. And so with all those guys they just traded away, if Zubac happens to be out, you can get a really cheap, really great Mason Plumlee. So I want to make sure I keep as many positions open as possible.
Love that call. Yep.
All right, let's take it to some QQs today. Going to the Discord first. What do we got here? Fanduel GPP, KD and Dean Wade versus Kawhi and Collins. As tough as that sounds, I think that actually might be Kawhi and Collins for me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, Durant is in an awesome spot, but like we're talking about a ton of ownership here. I don't hate trying to do some different things in tournaments. Like it's really hard to see Durant failing in this spot, but you touched on the Clippers situation a good amount. You're targeting it heavily. So I do like like Kawhi and PG are guys that usually play like 32, 34 minutes tops. This is a game where they could get up 36, 37 minutes, I think. The only hesitation I have is it is a back-to-back for them. They play tomorrow night as well. So I'm not like I wouldn't play both of them in a lineup together, but I could see one of them getting pushed into the upper 30s in minutes. And we know with their per minute production, that could be a smash at mid 8K price tags.
Yeah, big time. That's where I'm at too, is I definitely don't see KD failing. I think he's going to perform, but I could see him having maybe 55 DK points. Shout out to my black cat on Halloween coming into the frame. He could have 55 DK points, and then Leonard could have 49. And at that price difference, that's a pretty major difference in your lineup. So I don't mind that call. Who's your favorite FanDuel single entry studs? It's Mitchell and Durant for both of us. It's Mitchell and Durant. And then favorite GPP, favorite stud, or low owned value play for GPPs. I think for large field, I think for me it would be Kawhi Leonard as a stud, and then a salary saver, either Bones and Powell. How about you?
Yeah, it's Bones and Powell at the low end as well. And Kawhi is the guy I'm most overweight on the top end.
Being different tonight, nobody higher than 8,100. I don't think that's too crazy, Bill T, but I would probably want to get one of those Kawhi or Paul George guys on my team and just stretch that up a little bit higher. DKGPP, what about fading the first game and waiting for news? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially on a short slate where you want to try and just take advantage and hope either one game goes to overtime or one game stays tight and the other one's blow out late and the starters don't get a final rotation. I'd like that, especially when we have the amount of news we're waiting on. But the way I'm handling it is I'm just making sure I still want my exposure to that game. Mitchell, Okoro, Strus, and who was the last one? Who was the last Cleveland guy we wanted? Wade. But I don't want to get more than two of them. I don't want to get more than two. That's kind of the way I'm handling it. How about you? What do you think of that strategy today?
I think you have to have some exposure to Donovan Mitchell. Like, it's just too good of a spot. I think this was a viable strategy if Karis LeVert played. But now that LeVert is out, like, Mitchell is in an awesome spot. He could go for 60 DK points in this spot pretty easily. Where I do think you can get different is fading the cheap guys. Like, you can certainly fade a Wade and a Okoro and just hope that they don't get the usage that they've kind of been seeing. They should. They're going to play a ton of minutes, so it's not the most comfortable fade. But I do think that you can get different at the low end and hope that maybe a Norm Powell gets ruled out and Bones Highland just becomes a smash play. I don't think that's crazy at all.
I got a layup for you here. FanDuel cash, Kawhi Leonard and RJ Barrett, or Donovan Mitchell and Dean Wade?
Yeah, it's the second one for sure.
FanDuel GBP, min price punt at power forward for Kobe Brown. The Clips are down, guys. Thoughts? I'm playing 20 lineups. I was going to try and get him in one. He didn't get in. He didn't make any in my lineup optimizer. But if the Clippers happen to have, say, Zubats hurt or Norman Powell missing some games, then I'll probably adjust things and take a shot. What do you think about Kobe Brown in large field GPPs?
So I just said that I think and these guys play if you want to do that. Brown is a guy who had a ton of production in the preseason. He's a huge minute guy. I have no idea how many minutes he's playing tonight. If he runs out there for 12 minutes, he might get you 20 DK points, and that might be enough to beat Dean Wade. So I don't think it's crazy at all. It's a small slate. You can certainly do things like this where question like this tomorrow with 13 games, we're going to be like, absolutely not. But on this 3-game slate, I think it's very much in play.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. I'm with you there as well. Are the Sims for the NFL only? Right now they are, yes. I don't know if there's plans for that to change in the future. Keith, you probably know that better than I. But yeah, I believe there's other things coming NFL right now, though.
Yes, NFL only right now, but absolutely plans in the future for us to expand to other sports. I know NBA is very high on the priority list.
DK Cash, raw points from Chinatown, KD versus Mitchell, if you can only afford one.
Flip a coin. I will go with Durant just because of the matchup. Like the Spurs are a team that we target on huge slates. It's a great spot for Durant, but they're so close, and both in awesome spots.
I'm going to rifle through these YouTube QQs pretty quickly because we got 4 minutes until lock. And then right after the show, we got to pivot to the NFL, an NFL Pick Six show, I believe it is, coming immediately after. No, the NFL Prime Point show coming immediately after. So I'm going to rip through some of these quick. Stack Cleveland versus New York. Yeah, that's kind of one way I like doing this is stacking that game or leaving it alone completely. So I like that today. Amir Coffee in GPPs. I'd probably rather take a shot on Kobe Brown. If Norman Powell is out, yes, I think you could do Coffee, but he's pretty much been a low point per minute guy throughout his career. So I'd rather go Kobe Brown.
There's a chance that Coffee starts in that situation. Then I think he's more viable. I think he'd project for mid-20s minutes. Like he's not going to play 30 plus, I don't think, but there's a chance he could start in this spot.
What do you think about Josh Okogie today? I love Okogie. I did see a question lower down, which is a tough one, I think, but I give the edge to Okogie slightly. Okogie versus Okoro in DK single entry.
Yeah, it's Okogie slightly for me as well, but super close. Both great values.
Mr. Rich said Grimes is starting. Interesting. I believe, doesn't Grimes always start and he just doesn't play big minutes because quickly closes, even though Grimes is the starter.
That's accurate.
Yeah, yes. That we had Grimes listed as the starter anyways. DK Cash 2v2. If the Clippers news goes the way we want, and I'm assuming that means no Zubats and no Powell, would you go Goodwin and Okogie or Highland and Plumlee?
Yeah, I think I'd be pivoting to as much Clippers as I can if both of those guys in Powell and Zubats get ruled out. It would be the Clippers guys, yep.
Would you play Dean Wade or wait for some Clippers value? I think maybe playing Dean Wade and something like Cash is totally all good, but for tournaments, I would probably rather wait for the Clippers value. What do you think about Carter? I have him in every lineup. Wendell Carter Jr., I'm assuming that is. I have him in, I think, 2 or 3 of my 20 lineups. So what do you think of Wendell Carter Jr.?
I mean, he's going to get almost no ownership. So if you like him, that's certainly fire him up. Nothing wrong with that.
Every single lineup might be an egregious stand, but definitely get some exposure in tournaments. FanDuel GPP, one magic play from each of you guys. I think my favorite would probably be either Fultz or Cole Anthony. How about you?
Yeah, that's Fultz for me.
Yeah. But Wendell Carter Jr. had single-digit ownership on DraftKings right now. I really don't hate that idea. Make sure you stay tuned to the RotoGrinders YouTube feed immediately after the show because we have the Prime Point show with Britt. I'm not sure who else is on it, but I see Britt in chat telling people to stay because he's going to be on that one. Last question, and then we're going to get out of here. 1 minute till lock. Make sure you secure your lineups in DK Cash, Wade, Durant, and Nurkic, or Okoro, Mobley, and Leonard. I think you got to go that first one.
Yeah, I think Durant is a must in DK Cash.
Happy Halloween, everybody. We'll close it out with the mask. Hope you have a profitable Tuesday, and we will be back for more Crunch Time on Wednesday. Not sure who's going to be there, but I know I'm going to be on the Grinders Live show with Dean. And we do have the NFL Prime Points show immediately after this. Hit the like button on your way out. Stay for some NFL Prime Points. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Happy Halloween on behalf of myself, TJ, and or Spider-Man, whichever one you want to go with. Keith, the Iceman Eister, and Steve doing an amazing job behind the scenes. As per usual, we will see you tomorrow or today if you're staying. Peace.